All systems ready.
Hey everybody, this is the Master Rules Lawyer coming at you with another spell ranking as far as our 5e and beyond. Look at all the spells. We'll be looking at 5th edition spells primarily, but we're also going to be looking at the changes that are supposed to be coming out next month in the new PHB, or at least as far as what I'm aware the changes are. If those changes don't end up being what I've assumed, then of course we'll go back and revisit the ones that had things we hadn't considered. But for now, we're looking at guidance as we know it, and we're just going to be ranking them from anywhere from D, which being the worst, S class being the best, S class being the spells that are so good that you always want to take when available, pretty much. And often you'll even multi-class or take a feat to pick it up because it's just that good. A tier are the classes that are the spells that are consistently good. You almost always do want to go ahead and pick those up whenever available, but it's not so good that you're going to probably pick a feat up or go out of your way to grab it, but you might. B tier being the ones that are they're going to be more campaign or build dependent. With the right build or with the right campaign, the thing might be totally broken. But on the other hand, if you have a certain build that can't facilitate it, or you have a DM that doesn't give it many opportunities to shine, that's going to be a spell that maybe isn't going to be the greatest. So that's going to be where your B tier is. C tier are the spells that are going to be ones that probably rarely come up. They're kind of gimmicky, but when it does come up, maybe you're going to be glad that you picked it. Most of the time there's better options. And then D tier are just the worst of the worst, and almost always pull off what that spell does without having to take up a spell slot or without having to take up one of your cantrip choices, etc. And you can replicate it with something like maybe a simple common item or with an ability check, etc. So with that in mind, let's go right into it. Guidance. We're looking at a cantrip with an action, or a casting time with one action, range of touch, verbal and somatic components. It does require concentration for 1 minute. That's how long it lasts on whoever you guide, be that yourself or someone else. It's from the School of Divination, and you touch one willing creature. Once before the spell ends, the target can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to one ability check of its choice. It can roll the die before or after making the ability check. Then the spell ends. So, very cool spell that is available to clerics, druids, and artificers. And for those of you who like Baldur's Gate, this spell is completely broken. Just having somebody in your party carrying it, of course, usually Shadowheart, you can just add a d4 to everything. So it's S tier plus in Baldur's Gate, I think. But we're keeping it as far as the tabletop goes. Guidance. So what does guidance bring to the table? Well, it is a spell that is just so good. At least how it's written in 5e. Especially if you have a DM that will just let you sit there and continually spam it over and over, which the rules don't prohibit. You can just do it anytime somebody's going to do an ability check. It's fantastic. The only limitation really being that you can only concentrate on it once, so you can't just do it for your whole party. But it is definitely a spell that you want to pick up whenever possible. I think it's a spell that you might be willing to multi-class or take a feat in order to pick up. I don't think you'd pick up guidance. I mean, I don't think that'd be your sole reason for doing it. For you know, multi-classing or picking up a feat, because it's not game breaking. But if you're taking a dip into a cleric, or you have a chance to pick up a cleric spell or a druid spell with a feat, guidance is going to be your first option. So I think it is right on that borderline between S and A tier, because it is something that you might go out of your way to pick up, but it's not going to be the sole reason you're doing that. Most likely, it's not going to be like making your build. So, for me, I think it's S tier, but I could also see the argument for A. That said, let's talk about the changes that, at least as far as I'm aware, have been made to guidance in the PHP. At least it's how the play test material presented. So maybe it changes. I've not seen the final product of guidance, but everything that I've seen has pointed to guidance having changed somewhat significantly with a new change. That it is, rather than taking an action cast, it's a reaction, which sounds like an improvement. It doesn't require concentration. You just do it when someone needs it. At first blush, that sounds great. Like, did they make guidance S tier plus? Did they, just make it where you can spam? The problem is, as it was written, at least in the playtest material, guidance only allows a character to benefit from that once a day, which is a huge debuff. It is just it makes it so much less useful. I mean, it makes it more reasonable, maybe, but oh man, it's just you really nerf guidance if that's how you're going to run it. So as of the ranking that I'm going to do for here, I'm going to assume 5e, because I think that's a lot of players are going to stick with. Some people are going to go with the new stuff and say, okay, no, this is what it's going to be. But me personally, if you're at my table, you want to run guidance the way it ought to be, in my opinion, I'm keeping it the 5e interpretation. As far as whether to make it a reaction or not, again, that makes the spell better in one respect if you don't have that limitation of once per day, but at the same time, it might be worth it from a DM's perspective to kind of mix and match and still go ahead and let it be a reaction, because then you don't have to deal with the headache of, oh, I cast guidance, oh, I cast guidance, oh, I cast guidance. It's only when it's needed. So I think that's the way I'd roll it at my table, how I'm going to implement it. But let's just assume that we are at a table that is going to run it purely by how it's been written in the playtest material, assuming that that's how the new PHB is going to have it listed. What would you rank it then? I definitely wouldn't say it's S-class at that point. Is it A tier still? At D4 for everyone in your party once per day, it's still a pretty solid pickup. And I don't think that's build dependent or campaign dependent. It is, again, this does come DM dependent, but I'm going to look at these totally as two totally separate spells, because I think if you don't look at the 5e version and the 2024 version separately. It becomes just too different. So I'm not going to say that it is really DM dependent when we're talking about strictly the 2024 version. So I think I'm still going to give it an A, which I guess, maybe that's what they're striving for, a more balanced game. I don't think guidance was a problem in its previous incarnation, and again, I might even go as far at my table to even let guidance be even better, just because it makes my job as a DM a little bit better, a little bit easier anyway. So I do really want to hear some thoughts on this. Assuming that is how guidance is written in the new PHB, how are you going to handle guidance going forward? Are you going to go with the 5e version? Are you going to go with the new PHB version? Are you going to do some kind of mix and match like I think I might be doing, keeping it the same except maybe casting time and reaction? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Leave a like if you don't mind. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. You guys have a great one.